Good morning from beautiful Newcastle Motorsports Park for the final day of the 2024 SuperKarts USA Pro Tour. My name's Andrew Clements. Alongside me for today's on-air team, David Land, Caleb Vieska, and Rob Howden. And after a full day of action with heat races and qualifying for the pro divisions, a full round of racing with qualifying pre-finals and main events for the semi-pro classes yesterday, we're ready to run it back one more time for the regular season and to decide the 2024 SKUSA Pro Tour National Champions. On the racetrack here, as we're about midway through the warm-up sessions, is the Mini Swift division. We'll be having the X30 Juniors roll onto the racetrack shortly after. But for now, we'll go ahead and get things going. Dave, first of all, good morning to you, buddy. We had you on the grounds bouncing all around yesterday amongst the 230 drivers in attendance here this weekend, and thankfully it was a good day of racing weather-wise.
Yes, it was clean and dry. I don't think we're going to get quite that lucky today, and I'm hoping to jinx it. You never know, but it could get wet later on today. And on a championship Sunday, when you've got an extra variable, which is the weather, it's going to really throw a wrench into this whole thing. And I can't wait, Xander, because yesterday we saw some absolutely fabulous racing, and I expect that we're going to see more of the same today, especially because the stakes are just that much higher.
Yeah, we talk about the Circle of Champions, and we've driven home quite a bit over the broadcast the massive overhaul in the prize structure for the pro divisions, but there still is a big prize to play for in all the rest of the classes when it comes down to the championship and the overall top three. The champion in all the semi-pro divisions, it gets the Circle of Champions Fund, which is a full entry and tires package for the 3 Pro Tour race weekends in 2025. That's valued at about $3,600, just under $4,000. On top of that, you end up with about $5,000 in the total valuation because you also get a fully funded entry and tires to the SKUSA Super Nationals for this year in Vegas, and the top 3 drivers in the points get a guaranteed starting spot, a provisional for the main events on Sunday, which is super critical in classes like the K, Junior K, Senior divisions that we expect to be sold out at 88 to 90 plus. And then, of course, second place, he'll also get a Super Nats entry, and third, I believe, gets potentially either a race weekend entry or a $500 credit towards a race entry, which is right around the raw fee for 2025. So there's still a lot on the championship for the top 3 in all the semi-pro divisions, and when they're upwards of 30 entries, they also are eligible for daily cash prize in the podiums, which a handful of divisions are over 30, $250 cash to third, $500 cash to second, and $1,000 cash to the main event winner. An example here is this 30-driver Mini Swift class. So yesterday, with the race win, Ashton Woon pocketed $1,000, Rocco Simone pocketed $500, and Jake Manolio, with his first career podium, I believe, was able to get the $250. So that was, again, just in the Mini Swift class. As long as they have 30, they're eligible for the cash prizes each day, and it resets with the rounds.
And that's a great payday. I mean, you want to talk about a sport where every dollar counts. It's auto racing. It doesn't matter what division. It doesn't matter from the smallest class to the biggest class. If you can get any help, it helps you tremendously, even if you're at the top of your game, if you're a championship driver. I mean, and you want to talk about prestigious. An entry at Super Nats, a guaranteed spot in the field, in fact. You can't even put a cash value prize on that, I would say. I mean, that's almost invaluable in this sport to be able to run at Super Nats and guarantee that trip is not going to be in vain. You're going to be racing on Sunday in Las Vegas. So I think that's huge. It's great to see this prize pool at SKUSA. I mean, I think more series should do this, to be frankly honest with you, across racing. It's great to see teams and drivers being rewarded for committing to the entire season and also performing well.
Let's look at the performance so far in the TKG Kart Republic Mini Swift warm-up. We've been following this main group here with a couple of the championship contenders in the division. Royce Vega, most notably, in the 133 blue and orange Team Bennett entry. He's actually top of the boards right now. Him and his teammate Troy Ferguson both entered with a legitimate shot at the points title, but a rough day for Troy Ferguson yesterday will have to be his drop, and that's one aspect here. Good for better or for worse. It makes it a little trickier to calculate the championship, but it does make it where you can have one bad day out of the 6 total rounds for these semi-pro classes because it's the best 5 out of 6. it makes ourselves our own David Cole version Emery Lida and David Cole from EKN to try and run the calculations on not just what they need to do scenarios, but is it possible scenarios, which is tough to imagine. Ashton Moon winning yesterday definitely made things a little bit easier for him going into today. It's not a full mathematical clinch, and the spots behind are still up for grabs, including, again, the 2 and the 3 plates for 2025, which, again, that's another cool aspect. If you do find yourself staying in the same division for the following year, the number 1 plate is available to the champ, the 2 plate to the vice champ, and the 3 plate to the number 3 place runner in the title fight as well. Now, you don't see that typically in micro, mini, and sometimes in junior because the kids move up, and usually once they win, they want to advance to the next challenge. But another cool aspect that gives you a little bit of swagger when you roll up to the grid for the Winter Nationals in Orlando. So 10 seconds to go in warm-up. Ferguson, Vega, and there goes championship points later. Ashton Woon, yesterday's race winner. He's run 3 main events in a row, swept Cincinnati, and now won round 5. He goes quickest at the end of warm-up. He's still top of the leaderboard.
Yep, he's on a championship run right now, but again, long day to go. You know, anything can happen, and you mentioned with the drops. I mean, that kind of is the unpredictability of this form of racing. You don't quite know, and of course we have the best in the business kind of doing the calculations of points for us, but you don't really have an idea for sure until the final checkered flag flies who's going to win the championship.
Yeah, I mean, and you know, you look at some of the other major racing series that try to motivate, win at all costs, or go for it a little more. Well, when you have one mulligan, it naturally gives it that without having a, what's the word, playoff system?
No,
Is that right, Dave? No. But in all seriousness here, congratulations to Ashton Woon, quickest in warm-up, but it's close, man. Look at that.
That's
300ths for the top 5 from Woon to Ferguson, Vega, Lorenko Varela on the Sodi, and Braden Wagner on that GFC, who was very quick yesterday also. All 5 of them were not really around each other either. We saw Vega in that group with Maxwell Macha on the Kart Republic and a couple others, but I think a lot of that is you know, realistic look at how close they are pace-wise individually, because they all did that on their own. So that's cool to see.
Well, I was about to say, well, maybe they weren't around each other in warm-up. They're definitely going to be around each other once the green flag flies. I think based on those times, that's almost a guarantee at this point.
Well, here's a look at the lineup for today. Dave, we're going to have to send on down to get some intel, which luckily means that as well we'll be able to replace him. Rob Howden is here to stand by with me for qualifying right here at the top of the hour. So Mini Swift wrapped up KA 100 Junior Qualifying. We return at 9 a.m., 6 a.m. Pacific, 9 a.m. Eastern here. And then semi-pro pre-finals roll right off at 10:15. If you're looking to keep up with your Pro X30 and Pro Shifter favorite drivers, they don't even hit the racetrack until after the semi-pro pre-finals, right in the middle of the section of the day where we'll be exclusive to KC Premium members. But that's just their practice. Today, as has been the case with the Pro Tour this year, the Pro Show, the Pro Division main events are free to view in the afternoon. Share it to your friends and family, and on a weekend where there's not a whole lot of other motorsports going on due to the Olympics, we'd love to get some more eyes on the awesome sport that is go-kart racing. So again, that's this afternoon, and again in the middle, more semi-pro main events, and at the end of it all, we'll have the championship ceremonies and brace podium ceremonies as well. So, Dave, it's been great talking with you, but I need you to go talk to someone else because I'm sick of you already.
That's fair. I understand that. You get to hang out with Rob all day. We'll talk soon.
All right, we'll see everyone after the break, live from Newcastle. It's qualifying coming up next here for the SKUSA Summer Nationals. Brandon, why are there all these charges for just over $200 from Acceleration Kart Racing's website?
That's because AKR gives you free shipping on orders of $200 or more within the continental US.
Okay, but I thought you were just getting a pair of gloves. That's what, 70 bucks?
But if I'm getting a new pair of gloves, I might as well get a new pair of shoes to match. And then on top of that, I'll get a neck brace because with the shipping, it's basically free.
Yeah, I do not think the math checks out on that.
Everything you need, all in one place and shipped to your door for free for orders of $200 or more. Exclusions apply. Spend responsibly. Shop AKR.com.
Are you looking for an advantage in your competition? Well, Car Class has done the hard work for you. We've traveled to your racetracks to give you the inside knowledge. So what does Car Class offer? We've got drone footage that captures the racing lines. visual markers for your braking points, acceleration zones, and the best overtake opportunities on your racetrack. Pedal cam to show you where to brake and when to accelerate, and 360-degree footage to make sure you don't miss any parts on the racetrack. We've covered 13 racetracks in the United States, and Australia, you're up next. So visit kartclass.com to get your track information.
USA, a top-level performance team with unmatched hospitality, offering a full-service driver development program with
Well, we are back, ladies and gentlemen, here from Newcastle Motorsports under Clemens. Qualifying underway. Round number 6 of this year's SuperKarts USA Pro Tour, the Summer Nationals here at Newcastle. Again, everybody kind of looking at their mobile devices, checking out what could potentially happen later. I heard David Land talk about the fact that the R word may find its way here. I like the term that Xander always used, liquid sunshine. That may potentially find its way here. That could be really interesting here in the afternoon. Xander, we'll bring him back in here as well. I'm looking at it, 1 to 4 o'clock or 1 to 5 o'clock, 25% chance. That doesn't say that it's going to happen, but looking at the skies, you never know, right?
Yeah, I mean, this is a Midwest summer, right? We know that,
exactly that.
There is a really good chance that, at any given point, you could get a pretty heavy pop-up shower. If we remember back, Rob, to the Summer Nationals last year, we had that scary overnight storm that ripped through the paddock
Indeed.
and delayed the day of action, which was a really nice, courteous move from the SKUSA officials to say, hey, we need to give everyone time to kind of rebuild their paddock spaces. And I think what was the best part that I wish we got more footage of and photos of was, you saw teams cross all kinds of team lines and just jumped in to help each other.
Yeah, right behind us here, right? The Speed Concepts tent was
destroyed,
decimated.
The whole RPG mechanic crew was over there.
GFC,
they said we were going to wait on working on our go-karts. We're going to get our competitors' tent helped back together. GFC, the whole factory kart operation got destroyed. There were a ton of tents. So there's a chance, right? There's always a chance here in the summer with the heat, the humidity, that we could get a pop-up shower, and that could throw a wrench into things. And I think that, again, with how close some of the championships are in the classes that run towards the end of the day, especially X30 and Shifter, but even still, KA Junior and KA Senior having their main events at 1, 2 o'clock. They're on the front end of that window you're looking at.
Yeah,
so
exactly that.
Makes this qualifying for KA Junior all the more important. Travis Pettit, quickest out of group number 1. Again, this is the bottom half from final practice. He has to fight out of it along with the rest of them. The groups get set from Friday, so if you had a bad happy hour, even if you could have won the race yesterday, you still have to go out of the slow group.
Yeah, so Travis Pettit at 112.591, Maverick McKenna in second. So we'll watch those two drivers, see where they end up as this next group rolls out here. Quicker group from happy hour onto the track. And again, we talk about the fact that this is that day where all we do is discuss championships. David Cole, as we know, will be working the calculations on the Excel spreadsheet as he has year on year. Emery Lida doing the same thing here for Kart Chaser. We'll have a look at how things kind of play out in terms of the championship battle. And again, the drivers here in the KA 100 junior category, ready to scrap it out. Diego Ardiles coming in with the point lead. Little issue there for the number 834 here as he rolls out for qualifying. But Ardiles will come in here with a point lead of 135 markers over Turner Brown. Diego, of course, has things to a certain extent in his control. His drop race right now, a 240 from round number 1. Turner Brown dropping a 214 from round 1 as well.
Oh, here we go. Well,
listen, we look at the screen, we're like, oh no.
Yeah,
here we go.
It looked bad in X30 Junior yesterday. KA Junior, actually, I don't remember them parading around nearly as much, but hey, Championship Sunday and the last chance to kind of get a race win before they start gearing up for the Super Nationals. There's really only a couple other major events from the other series like Stars or USPKS on the year, so and the last time for many that they'll be at Newcastle if they don't come back for the PKS finale in September. That undoubtedly won't be on this layout. So if you feel like you finally figured out the layout, well, you want to make the most of today because it's your last chance to run the shark fin backwards, configuration.
Saw these drivers slowing up there for the opening lap, coming back through, getting back on power. So indeed, again, the thing that Xander I hate, David Cole hates, we all hate this crawling around at the start of a qualifying session. Finally able to get things spooled up to get this other lap going here. It's almost like you just want to go one lap and done. Or even 2 laps like we do in Super Bowl qualifying, just to get it over with, right? None of this argy-bargy strategy kind of thing, Xander. I would love it just to do 2 laps, call it a day.
Yeah, look, I get it from the driver's side, been a part of it. There's a way to play the game, and everyone's got their own way to do it, and the natural way is just to be the last one to blink, the last one to go. So I understand it, but yeah, it's not the most fun way. It's obviously not the most merit-based way to try and do what qualifying's meant to do, and that's start the field, set our lineup from fastest to slowest. So luckily, they're going now, and we're going to get a little read on them. And at the same time, let's get a bit of an insight into some of the drivers gearing up for qualifying here today. Let's go down to the grid area and hear from Caleb and Dave.
Hey, Xander, thank you. I'm sitting former, championship points leader in the KA 100 senior class, Finnegan Bailiff. It was a hard day for you having to deal with whatever issue, and after a crash in practice as well. Weekend thus far.
Yeah, we haven't had the best luck. Just looking for a little luck going into qualifying here. Need to qualify up front and try to get this win. I think we have a chance. We were fast this morning, so I think everything's going pretty well. So I just need a little luck, and we'll be fine.
Yeah, and I mean, the track has changed a lot from, yesterday to today. It's very cool today, 70 degrees outside. What different, a bit more pace, or how different is the track? What are you looking forward to today?
Yeah, the cart rips when it's this cold, and the track's very good for this cart when it's like this. So I think we're pretty set for a good day.
Sounds good. Well, there you guys have him, Finnegan Bailiff, who gets set to go green here in this qualifying session shortly.
Apologies about a bit of the audio there, obviously right near the speakers at the quiet part of the grid. That was 100% my fault here on the production side, folks. But luckily, Caleb and Dave, they're going to be really active here this morning, giving us the intel in qualifying. So we're going to get a bunch more chances to get that right, make sure you can hear the drivers pretty well. Finn Bailiff, as he mentioned, enters today with a bit of a deficit to overcome. When the drops get factored in, he said he did the math from what he can tell, and his dad, owner Sean Bailiff of the MCC Cincinnati Kartplex and Trinity Karting Group, he trails by about 93 points when you take the drops into effect that's 93 raw into himself versus James Overbeck. The difference, he's got a worse drop being yesterday. Yesterday was a brutal main event for him. So if both drop and have better days today, then it's only a 29-point difference. So it's actually a lot closer if they both run good. And again, Finnegan, the bar is low, so we expect him to run well. And if he does, there's a chance he could leapfrog it. But James Overbeck won yesterday's main, so bar set high for him too.
And Xander, for a couple of the classes, it's going to be coming down to qualifying. Like the qualifying rolling out right now. Some of these carts, drivers need to get pole. If you don't get pole, you've lost those 10 points. That's how crucial it is. For some of the categories, like a driver like Joe Rook, he has to have a perfect day in Master Shifter to beat Skitchy Barnes. If he doesn't get pole position, essentially goes to Barnes. So a lot of the time, we're going to be focusing on what happens here in qualifying. Checkered flag flying here to end this session. Diego Ardiles on top a 111.961, and a perfect example of a driver trying to grab that championship by Ardiles going P1, 10-point bonus there. Turner Brown back there in third. Ardiles stepping his way forward to potentially lock down this championship in the KA100 junior category. Ardiles P1, Max Weiland second quick, 4/10 back in that session. Turner Brown's up in third. Isaac Malkit in fourth. Alex Vanchev goes to P5. Jackson Wolney, yesterday's winner, up in the sixth spot. Ty Fisher in seventh. Travis Pettit, eighth. Martin Yaramillo, ninth. And Maverick McKenna from that first group, rounding out the top 10. So a couple drivers, Travis Pettit and Maverick McKenna from the opening groups, and are able to hold on. Good speed in their session. End up going 8th and 9th, or 8th and 10th, rather, respectively, overall.
Right, and I think part of that, Rob, was probably due to the fact that they literally paraded around in the fast group and didn't do that in the slow group. They went straight green, so I would not be surprised if that fast group got maybe one less lap or at least one less clean lap. You know, we see them all crossing the line with 3 laps in total, but you look at Diego Ardiles' opening lap, a 1:14. His second lap was still a 1:13, so they were obviously fighting in traffic and really only got a clean lap at the end. On the flip side, Travis Pettit had a 1:12.5, a 1:12.8, and then the opening lap was kind of slow. So, you know, they had more like really 2 chances to kind of get their marks and get tuned up and, you know, heating the tires. And I think we may see a bit of the same in the KA Senior opening group where they're split in half, I believe, as well, with 36 total drivers on the entry list. And Finnegan Bailiff with a bad happy hour, entering again 29 points out of the lead, is going to join him. And we've got one spinner already. That is the 974 Sodi Kart. And that is Alex Sharma. Sharma. So, Aaron Sharma, sorry. Alex Sharma running in X30 Junior on the Kart Republic with Trinity Karting Group. Aaron Sharma running on the Sodi Kart in KA Senior. Aaron going around here at the beginning of the slow group quali session. But Finn Bailiff says, you know what, I'm just going to go run by myself at this point. I asked him on my way into the track this morning, bumped into him and his girlfriend Riley, and said, well, man, you need to get on the gas. Do you think if you get a good quali effort, you'll be all right? He's like, yeah. Obviously, the happy hour put me in the slow group, but beyond that, I feel like if we can get a good starting spot, we can fight from there. It's just tough because once the races get going, between the long straights and between how good the field is, a lot of the top 15, top 20 guys are running the same average lap time. So it's hard to really make up ground or it's a lot easier to lose it. So he needs a good quality effort here. And on the flip side, the guy not necessarily rooting for him to do bad, but rooting for himself to back up yesterday is James Overbeck. He's standing by with us down on the grid in the fast group.
Thank you, Xander. I'm here with James. James, a rough start to the morning after a good race win yesterday. Did a little bit of swimming this morning, didn't you? Walk me through it.
Yeah, I came out of the pits, and the kid in front of me spun out as soon as we were going around the kink, and I had nowhere to go. But thankfully, the rear tires just dipped into the water. But I looked over and I saw Luke A. I mean, he was fully submerged in, so I'm glad I wasn't in that position. Thankfully, no water got in the motor. We were able to get started back up, so just got to keep focused for today, just keep doing what we've been doing.
Later on today, I mean, it's going to be a tough race nonetheless, right? You're in the lead of the championship points now. How has the track changed, you know, from yesterday to today? Do you think you're going to have the same speed that you had yesterday today?
That's a great question because I never really got a lap this morning, so I'm not really sure what the track's like for qualifying, but I guess I'll find out sooner rather than later, and we'll send it and see how it goes.
Sounds good. Well, best of luck.
Thank you.
There you have it from James Overbeck. Big thanks to Caleb for continuing to get us more intel. So we've heard from one championship contender, now we hear from the other, and it's really, to a degree, kind of down to these two after yesterday. I mean, Henry Wheeler had a good day, you know, and again, his drop is also pretty low at a 119, but even with that factored in, I mean, part of the reason they're so close is because Bailiff has a 130. So it's going to come down to James Overbeck versus Finnegan Bailiff, which means the fun part for us, Rob, both of them, it would be a first career SKUSA Pro Tour championship. And for Finn, I believe across all of the 3 major series, it may be the first regular season title, period. James won last year with the Stars series, but it would be his first SKUSA title, and he knows, you know, growing up as a kid, he mentioned it in his race-winning interview. It was cool to hear from him saying, you know what, to be honest, I didn't think I was ever going to be good enough to win a SKUSA Pro Tour race. He's now won one, and he's leading the championship.
Yeah, it's such a great story for James Overbeck. We see him running both 4-cycle and 2-cycle competition all up and down the East Coast. And as you said, for him to say, listen, I used to look up to these guys that were running at the level I'm running at now. So, again, as I had said yesterday, now James is one of those guys that the kids are looking up to. I want to be like James Overbeck. And there's an opportunity for him here. As you said, already notched that first victory. Does he come away with a championship? It'll be a Overbeck versus Bailiff kind of head-to-head battle. And the crazy thing is Overbeck's coming in after a fantastic day yesterday. Finn had to work hard all day long to get what he did at the end of the day. So really he has to step things up to see if he can't fight right now with James Overbeck when we go main event racing.
Mick Gabriel there, a great shot at the AAM Karting Cosmic driver, and you can see that he is having a good time here this weekend, even though he didn't get a trophy yesterday. Loving that "who cares"
like that
driver nameplate there. Mick Gabriel, like a lot of go-kart drivers, he's like, you know what? I love racing, and everything else is just noise, right? So as cool as the spotlight is, as cool as the trophies are, the purse money, everything else, I want to be the guy that is the first one to the checkered flag amongst the swarm, and he's going to hopefully get himself a good starting spot right now. The benchmark set by championship contender Finn Bailiff, a 1:11.84, and we're headed to the checkered flag this time by here, Rob, as we follow the 9:82 of Xavier Diaz and a number of others through the final few 90s.
Yeah, first group of qualifying here for KA 100 Senior. Roussel now goes to the top of the charts with a 1:11.794. Bailiff in second, Chase Busaglia in that third spot. Rivera and Dunlop round out your fast five. Roussel, though, on top of the 1:11.794. That will be your provisional pole time with the fast group ready to roll out here. And again, Bailiff, again, qualifying or starting in that slower group after troubles in the happy hour. Will need to step things up again, although only 48 thousandths of a second behind Sawyer Roussel. He's the fast driver, 1:11.794. Remember, we just watched KA 100 Junior. The first and second place drivers in that qualifying session end up 8th and 10th. I think Bailiff would be more than happy to get himself into the top 10. Not sure what will play out for him as it would work, because there are a lot of top guns here in this KA 100 Senior class. But James Overbeck, I thought his interview with Kayla was very interesting. Didn't get a lap this morning in warm-up, so rolling out here kind of with no real baseline of what this track's going to be like. It's cooler than it was, obviously, yesterday than the high heat of the day when he was super fast. We'll see how things play out here. 71 degrees ambient temperature. We got some cloud cover and potential rain coming this afternoon. We'll see how all that plays out.
Well, I just got a text, actually. I was just checking my phone to make sure all of our other digital comms were good as well. Marin Kremers has been listening in here in the paddock while he's waiting for Pro Shifter warm-up to go. He said, Xander, stop lying. We don't race in the rain whenever I'm here. Whenever I'm gone, then you guys decide to race in the rain. But Marin Kremers, the last time he got to race in the rain in the States, he put nearly a second a lap on everybody and made us all look silly. And then since then, well, he's either had races where we haven't been able to run the full session in the rain, or the track was flooded, so we delayed. Marin's standing there, dude, it's fine, let's go. And then sure enough, the last year and this year where he's had, especially this year, a few more races across the pond once again and less in the States. Dude, you guys race in the rain like 3 times while I'm gone. Come on. So there's from the number 1 plate, the reigning double champ in Pro Shifter, saying, yeah, I'm here. Don't worry. I'm the jinx. We're going to be dry.
Yeah. I'll take care of it for you guys. I'd like to race in the rain, but it's not going to happen. There's Mick Gabriel on track right now in that 798. We saw him on pit lane. We'll see how things play out here at the start. Great racing yesterday in KA 100 Senior. This was one of the best battles all race long. We saw so many fights, not only for the front, Xander. Deeper in the field, we picked up a bunch of different battles. It was a ton of fun to watch it. Hey, there's an interesting spectator right there.
Dalton Haynes had a good run at the opening round of the championship in Orlando. He's working with the SLA kart racing group here this weekend. Wish we would get to see Dalton with the helmet back on. He had such a good run. He left the weekend there 4th in the title fight. Would have been in the championship prize pool. Sadly, it all couldn't come together to complete the season. But he's got a busy schedule of late model oval stock car races that he's been doing through the summer of this year and into the fall. Another one of our hopeful karting graduates that we get to see, stay in touch with, and root for as they try to make their way up the ladder. Dalton, another one of them. Now, let's pull the ticker up here in a moment. Let's take a look at the times as they run. Now, I know, folks, as we're watching right now, Henry Wheeler and Caleb Gaffera on your screen right here on the PSL Karting Beer Art, the red and white Wheeler, who finished second yesterday. Gaffaro was in the mix, but something just kind of didn't seem right for him, Rob. I didn't get to catch up with him yesterday evening. I'm not sure what was off for the debut weekend for Caleb G with Chad Dawkin Racing and the Alonzo Kart Republic chassis. He'd never driven either one before. Didn't plan on racing. Was just going to test. That's why he's got Aiden Levy's suit, and helmet, and gloves, and shoes as well. But yeah, he was great in the pre-final, great in qualifying, great in happy hour. Just didn't seem like he had what he needed in the main. He just kind of slowly fell back to the edge of the top 10.
He just didn't have it. You're exactly right. He just kind of slowly fell through the field. He was obviously the quickest driver out of the gate, as we know. Qualified well and just didn't kind of play out for him here right now. Information, David Cole.
David Cole already letting us know here. So first and foremost, back in KA Junior, by David Cole's calculations, Ardiles does have that one clinched.
All right.
So that leaves X30 Junior, Mini Swift by a hair for Ashton Woon. I believe the drivers behind need a perfect day. The one or two that are in contention, I believe it would be Rocco Simone probably that would need a perfect day today in qualifying. Master Shifter, Joe Ruck needs a perfect day to fend off Skitchy Barnes. X30 Junior is close. It's Ardiles versus Wolney by about 30 markers. KA Senior is close, 29 markers. For this man on the inside there, James Overbeck in the gold helmet against Finnegan Bailiff. Now, they've bumped Bailiff already outside the top 10. The fastest driver from the primary group, it looks like, outside the top 3. Finn's hanging on to 4th right now, but we're just beginning this run. 1 lap complete. They should get 3. And James Overbeck and Jake Drew, who were the 2 of the 3 ones fighting for the win yesterday, are probably going to be setting themselves up for, I think, a really good 3rd lap because they've got clean air ahead and they're working together nicely, Rob.
And we saw that Wheeler and Gaffaro are working together as well. They went P1 in the opening lap. Gaffaro now goes back to the top of 111.074. So the pace is there for Gaffaro. Was not able to capitalize on that in the main event yesterday, but I'm sure he'll be coming back today trying to see if he can't bring CDR a victory. Gaffaro goes P1 by 100th of a second over the driver he's drafting with Henry Wheeler. Overbeck now up into 3rd, Drew 4th, Gabriel 4th in 5th. Bailiff still holding on to 8th position. Hey, I'll tell you, if he gets top 10 by the end of this thing, I think he'll be a pretty happy guy based on where he had to qualify.
Yeah, all things considered, right? The top 10 and how crazy this class can be through the heats or through the pre-final and into the final with that 16-lap main. I mean, you just got to get yourself in a good spot. I'm sure in Finn's position, starting that far back, if he can cycle to the 9th spot or even if he goes to 11th, that'd be much appreciated compared to the outside lane, because how many times yesterday, Rob, did we see the wreck start in the center of turn 2, wash out to the exit, and about maybe row 5, 6 are on back. Nowhere to go, tracks blocked. You're either going in the grass, jamming the brakes, or joining the wreck.
Hey, listen, for Bailiff, that opening lap of the pre-final is going to be crucial, right? He needs to get himself up there with Overbeck in the middle of that fight. Otherwise, he's going to be in trouble.
Yeah, he's got to be very careful to make sure that he's able to join these drivers early and not let James get too many points, period, by the end of the pre-final, because even the pre-final pays half of what the main event does, and already with the last run to the line, Caleb Gaffaro looks like he just went back-to-back poles, but more importantly, when it comes to the championship, that bumped Finn Bailiff outside the top 10. Where did he fall? It pushed him all the way down to 18th after going quickest in the group.
Wow.
So a big blow for Finnegan Bailiff. The good news, James Overbeck will not start on the pole. He'll roll back from 7th, so no points change in the deficit. But 7th is a lot safer than P18.
Indeed. The outside row 9, another outside row start as well. As you said, 18th for Finnegan Bailiff. Overbeck, the current point leader, in 7th. Gaffaro, though, 110.863. Good qualifying run for he and Henry Wheeler. Those two drivers teamed up and went out and got it done. 0.04 of a second, the gap between 1st and 2nd. Steven Eisert, solid qualifying session for the California for Sody Kart, 2/10 back. Fernando Luque in 4th, Josh Campbell 5th, Colin Lloyd 6th. There's Overbeck in 7th. Jake Drew, who was in the lead battle yesterday, 8th. Eli Warren, a driver I expect to fight for the race win here today. He's in 9th, and Kane Martin rounding out the top 10. McGabriel, we talked about it earlier, he's in 15th, but as Andrew had said, all the way back at 18th is Finn Bailiff. That's the work he has to get done. You see him right there, 18th. He and Sawyer Roussel will be on road number 9. Work to be done there. Pre-final is going to be crucial. Not only to get himself, Xander, back into the fight, the simple fact is all those points are up for grabs. He's got to get himself in at least a point-paying position where it's going to potentially get him closer to James Overbeck.
Right. You look at 100 points. I think it's about a 50-point drop down to even just 10th, right? So let's say James Overbeck's able to win the pre-final. I mean, dude, you've got to be at least into the top 5 at minimum to keep it, realistic for the main, because otherwise, if one of those two drivers enters with more than, say, a 50-point margin for the final session of the year, especially considering that James has a pretty safe drop if he does have a really bad race, it's going to be a tall mountain to climb, and the odds are going to get a lot slimmer for Finnegan Bailiff. But as they roll through, there's a look into the scale line. I'm sure we'll be chatting with Caleb G shortly here, as well as the second pole award is awarded. The third one is going to be coming up next, and here's a great look down on the grid. We're ready to go. There's a look at Win Gottschalk in the 225, and talk about a crazy day yesterday for Win Gottschalk and first-time SKUSA Pro Tour pole sitter Jaden Francisco. The two of them got shoved by the rest of the field as they were trying to bring down a safe pace coming to the green. Rob got turned and stuck together, but then a huge kudos to the kid across the way, Zane Burgess, in the black and orange Sodi Kart colors, and the rest of the pack came to a stop and allowed first and second to get back into their positions, even though they could have absolutely said, you know what, we're going ahead now, third and fourth, get the front row, because they were two corners away from going green.
Yeah, they were literally right there to come around to the front straightaway to go green flag, and they just pulled to essentially a stop, waiting for those guys to come back around. A great show of sportsmanship for Zane Burgess, who is your point leader coming into today. He's got things locked and loaded as the championship winner here. So great job for Zane. Qualifying getting underway. Drivers rolling out here right now for Micro.
As they work their way through the outlap here once again for the Micro Swift division. This is the entire group, as there are 24 of them here this weekend. Sadly, that puts them just below the 30-driver cut line for the champion, or for the race day purse. But again, all classes are eligible for the top three of the championship to get that Circle of Champions. And for Zane Burgess, a second place result in yesterday's main event was more than enough to clinch his first career regular season U.S. title. It has been an outstanding season for Zane. His second year in the micro category. He's already started to dance the line of the Mini Swift division back at the Badger Kart Club money race, the shootout, a couple weeks ago, Rob, leading into the U.S. Pro Kart Series event there. Zane moved up to Mini, ran, I believe, second or third, and they were almost frustrated with that result. Right. But his first ever Mini race. So we know that Zane's probably going to complete the year in micro, but he's going to be one to watch in Mini next year. As sadly, looks like another one of the drivers that's been good and in the championship, Santi Orioli and Hudson Howard, who has had a great weekend, just tangled on the outlap. They're going to be way back from the main group, and that's going to hurt their qualifying.
Xander, you look at Zane Burgess' line across the year, right? 3 wins, 5 podiums. When you're knocking out victories or you're knocking out nothing but podiums, you're 100% going to be the conversation for a championship. He gets it done early, race number 5, locked and loaded, but back out there to see if he can't get his 4th win of the season. A great run here this year as a micro driver for Zane Burgess and Sodi Kart. They've had such a fantastic season. And again, as you said, moving up to the mini category, looking forward to seeing what he's able to do as he works his way up the internal ladder here in karting through mini into the junior categories, potentially up to senior. Gottschalk in second place in points right now. Santiago Orioli in the 3rd spot. Daniel Ramirez in 4th. Sterling Mulata currently P5. So, yeah, the championship is locked and loaded. But, again, you talked about the fact earlier, Xander, that that number 1, 2, and 3 plates obviously up for grabs. Number 1 will not be used. We see so many drivers move up after they've won the championship. So you don't see a lot of number 1 plates in the cadet categories. But you do see the 2 and 3 plates. So we'll see which drivers come away with those. Right now, the drivers just starting to settle in. We talked about the fact a couple drivers got together on that outlap to get things underway. Finally here, with the way the timing line is situated well before they come onto the racetrack, it takes the full warm-up lap and then a full race lap before we even see the lap time. So we're looking 3-4 minutes into a session before we even see our first laps getting laid down. And again, just underway right now with the drivers coming across the line. The fastest outlap, Santiago Orioli, a 1:20.146. Cameron Johnson 2nd, Daniel Ramirez 3rd, Lawrence Perriman in 4th, and Win Gottschalk rounding out the early top 5. 24 drivers in the field here for the micro category, working their way through qualifying. Then we'll roll into the pre-finals. Lots of qualifying still to come for you here. Orioli P1, as I said, a 1:20.146. One of the categories that we won't be talking about a championship battle. Zane Burgess getting that done, as we already said yesterday in round number 5. So a number of championships locked, a couple of them super close. Qualifying is going to play the role, like we said, in Master Shifter, which I believe is up next. Master Shifter. There is an outside shot for Joe Rook to be able to steal that championship away from Sketchy Barnes, but as we said, Xander, it's got to be a perfect day, and a perfect day has to start with qualifying on P1.
And for those that are trying to do the calculations on their own, SuperKarts USA would like to let everyone know in the paddock the points are updated on the Speed Hive website. If you also go to the SuperKarts USA official website, you can go to the Pro Tour section and you'll find the points there. They are fully up to date heading into today. You'll have to do the math yourself to calculate the drop. Again, you've got 5 rounds counted so far. Your lowest of those 5, if you do better than that today, that'll be the one that doesn't count. You got to subtract that from your total and the rest of your competitors. So we're doing the math provisionally. All that we say, again, whether it's as always, any incidents we talk about or anything we speculate is 100% provisional and just for the viewers at the track and at home. And the same goes for our championship calculations. We know we've got some pretty talented, smart guys working on them, but if you'd like to do them yourself or at least see the official number coming into today, that's available on the SKUSA website as well as on Speed Hive directly. Also, yesterday, many of you may have noticed Race Hero / the SuperKarts USA app was giving us some hiccups for the timing people during the day, so they were able to still put results on there, but live timing was available on Speed Hive. That has since been sorted as well. So Race Hero is back live for live timing, results, penalties, aka official results as well. And you've got to keep an eye on Race Hero for when the official results initially get posted, because then you've got 30 minutes from when those results get posted on the app or on Race Hero itself to file a protest. As now, one driver who was able to win his with the pushback penalty, Daniel Ramirez, was able to get the win yesterday, but at the last second, Jaden Francisco with a big lap, and he'll sweep the poles if it'll hold here. It looks like this group already got the checkered. Again, there's Ramirez at the front of it. Zane Burgess, 3rd overall, 2nd in that pack there in the 255. But Jaden Francisco on the Ryan Perry Motorsport Nitro Kart. Man, I bet you this kid loves this layout, but what a crazy day yesterday. It got rough and tumble at the front of the pack here in the Microswift class, and Jaden had enough. He got frustrated and bailed out of the main event with about 4 laps to go, Rob. We were confused because there was still plenty of time to get back into position, but lesson learned for that young driver. It's only been 1 major race series win so far for Jaden Francisco, so I imagine as well it's still kind of fresh to be running at the front and mainly not necessarily not knowing what moves to make or not to make, because a pass is still a pass, defending is still defending, whether you do it for 1st, 5th, or 10th. But I think running at the front and battling for a race win at a national level seem normal and not kind of heighten you mentally, right? The first time you're there, you get nervous. Maybe the second time you almost have a little bit of frustration. And, you see it with drivers, right? There's like the neutral line mentally you want to stay at. You come in sometimes underconfident, too nervous. Then you come in too confident, a little cocky, get frustrated easier. And then eventually, the best of them all find that perfect middle ground.
Agreed.
And, that's why when we talk to a lot of these Pro Shifter, Pro X30 guys, even the veterans in KA Senior, the adult drivers, they don't seem necessarily overly excited until the day is over, and they don't seem overly frustrated until the day is over usually either. They do a pretty good job, and it comes across monotone. You're like, I'd be upset. But they're trying to stay in the right mental space.
Yeah, you have to keep that even keel, right? You got to stay focused on what's happening, and if you get too crazy, then you find yourself making bad mistakes. There's a good shot at turn 1 and 2. We'll see a lot of action here throughout the weekend. We're going to see a lot of action as well throughout the day. Let's head down, though, to pit lane. Caleb standing by with one of our top drivers from KA 100 Senior.
Thank you, Rob. I'm here with Henry. 2 second place, two second place qualifying finishes on the weekend, both behind Caleb G. It seems like he has good one-lap pace, but you seem to have the upper hand when it comes to race pace. Just walk me through how your weekend's been this far.
Yeah, I think we've been really fast. From happy hour, you're second in happy hour, second in the final yesterday, second in both qualifyings. I think we're really fast. I just got to put it together, and I don't think anyone's had the consistent pace that I have this weekend, but James just beat me out on the last lap yesterday.
Yeah, I mean, you had, like you said, he beat you out on the last lap, and it seemed like if you were able to get that win, you were going to find yourself within a shot for the championship. You know, it's been a rough year, I should say, with a couple of crashes across the year. But just is this weekend kind of like a confidence booster for you after getting a big win 2 weeks ago?
Yeah, I think this weekend's been really good, and I'm really glad to be doing this good. And I think without a DNF and a few wrecks, I could be doing better in the championship. But I think top 3 is still possible, and I mean, the championship's a little too far with James and Bailiff, but I think third's possible.
Sounds good. Well, best of luck on the rest of the weekend, Henry. Thank you.
Thank you, Caleb.
Back to you guys in the booth.
Hey, listen, anytime you see a driver start working their way to the front and get those race wins, Henry Wheeler's a perfect example, right, Xander? You get the race win. You talked about the mindset of being able to go out for race wins, and you kind of change the way you come into a weekend. When the expectations change, the way you have to approach weekends change, and now, of course, Henry Wheeler thinking race wins every time he rolls onto the racetrack.
Right. So for Henry Wheeler, like he mentioned, this has been a good weekend. You know, even still, as frustrating as that last lap was, because he had a great move. You talked about turn 2, a lot of action. Remember, Jake Drew had that crazy send down the inside, 3 wide for the lead and the win on the last lap, and sadly just kind of overcooked it a little bit. And then Henry did a great over-under, got the lead, still had James on his heels, and as he defended into that infield hairpin, it just was a bit too sharp, a bit too slow, and the motor bogged down enough to get James alongside him. And from that point, James was able to take control of the race, defend the rest of the lap, and score his first career SKUSA Pro Tour victory. So Henry Wheeler, 500ths shy of his first SKUSA national win yesterday. But the pace, like he said, it's been there. It still is there. It's still a good quality effort for him. He'll have a great shot to fight for another win here this afternoon. Now, we've got the X30 Juniors onto the racetrack. This class is like KA Senior, a very tight championship battle. You look at the points initially off the printout before drops get factored in, Rob, you'll see Jackson Wolney is going to be at the top of the leaderboard. But Jackson's there because of the fantastic consistency he's put together through all 5 rounds. Diego Ardiles and Turner Brown have had 1 or 2 rougher goes and then a couple other superstar runs. And with the way it all shakes out, we've got Ardiles actually on top by a small margin over Jackson Wolney. And Chico is still a little bit in the hunt, but he'll need a major blow to both of those SCR drivers who top the standings right now. And it starts with qualifying. We've already seen a little bit while we were looking at that, the first half lap kind of crawling around, but now they're up to full song and begin to get going.
Xander, you go back to the Winter Nationals for Turner Brown, right? 106 points race 130 points race 2, where you look at Jackson Wolney and everything. His lowest race was a 225. The amount of points, the amount of consistency Jackson Wolney's had throughout this year has been impressive. Not one rough weekend, but he'll still need to step it up here in race number 6, because as you said, Diego Ardiles has been very impressive as well. A couple of wins to start the year. He is dropping to 158. So this thing's still up for grabs in the X30 Junior category, brought to you by Rawlson Performance Group. Wolney, Ardiles, and Brown, 1, 2, 3 coming in to the final round. Championship Sunday here at Newcastle Motorsports Park, round 6 of the series, and of course round 3 for the Pro X30 and Pro Shifter drivers as well. Looking forward to those battles later on today. Of course, that's going to be free for everyone to watch on Kart Chaser, which I think is key here. Obviously, premium members are going to get the middle part of the day, going to get the main events from our semi-pro categories. But if you haven't signed up yet, just do it. It's $10 a month. Get it done.
Yeah, we've got racing pretty much every weekend.
That's
Rob,
it.
you and I were joking of
100% you do.
who's got the busier schedule this year, and we've definitely got a packed calendar of races for sure. Obviously, SKUSA Pro Tour, our lone event, taking all of our coverage, all of our efforts, and our full A team here this weekend with a lot of cool new aspects, including that brand new live onboard camera that will be debuting again later today. We ran it on Alan Isambard yesterday in Pro Shifter. We'll be cycling to a different driver here today in the Pro classes. And we might be able to even stick it on one of our semi-pro division drivers, maybe in KA Senior or maybe here in X30 Junior. We'll see, because they run earlier in the morning.
So I talked to Alan yesterday afternoon and told him that, hey, listen, we had the onboard, as you know, on the Kart. I said we were loving the fact that quick reaction time you had not to get in the back of Martin Kajik. He said, but did you get me almost going off the racetrack coming over to the cell tower corner, over the rise? I said, I don't think we picked that up. He said, I dropped the wheel, it was fully sideways. I go, don't worry, Xander will go back and find that. We'll have to grab that somewhere. But he literally said, he goes, I almost lost it. I don't think we saw it on the screen, but he said it was full, complete opposite lock to the left coming out of the corner. I'm like, all right, I got to go find that, because that would, if you didn't go around, that's a massive save.
Yeah, that's crazy. And there's so many of those moments, I think, that the broadcast cameras just don't do justice, right? I mean, again, Rob, you raced this layout, or similar to it, without the shark fin last year, and then you go back to these, wider angles and up high in the sky almost, and we're not super high up. We can see when they drop a tire and kick up some dirt, but it just really, until you ride on board with one of these drivers or do it yourself, you just have no idea how on the edge they are, especially in those gearbox categories like Pro Shifter, where you've got 45-plus horsepower, you're 400 pounds of weight, and you've got 6 gears that are all just literally, again, as it's always described, the power-to-weight ratio of an F1 car.
And we can't follow everybody. That's the key, right? There are so many battles, so many near misses, so many almost wrecks that you just don't pick up, because you're following one driver around, as we are now trying to pick up drivers throughout qualifying. You just never know. And Alan's like, don't worry, the onboard was there. We'll be able to go back and find it now. And indeed, a great run for Alan Isambard, who jumped into that cart because Danny Formal injured himself in the warm-up day, the practice day. We were excited to see Danny Formal making his debut for Sody Kart. Does not happen. Alan Isambard jumps back in the seat. He's had a great year, Xander, not only in the shifter, but in the KA as well. He's been super impressive in the single speed stuff as well.
He has been great in the single speed stuff. I mean, Alan Isambard, it's been just kind of a Swiss Army knife type of year, right? As we get a big shuffle at the last second, and one of our championship contenders now onto the bubble here in X30 Junior. Jackson Wolney, 109.51. If it'll hold to the end, it will, by 13 thousandths over fellow championship contender Chico Brown and Diego Ardiles, who provisionally, from what we can tell, leads the points by a small margin. Well, it just got even smaller. 10 points to the 703.
Yeah, listen, the top 3 drivers in the championship fight right now, Wolney, Ardiles, and Brown, are there, 1, 2, 3. The top 3 drivers, you'll see it here right now, separated by 0.05 of a second. That's how close it was in qualifying. Jackson Wolney, though, grabbing the 10 points. And again, the key is not only does he get the 10 points, but the 2 drivers he's battling against, Brown and Ardiles, don't get it. So it really is a 20-point swing all total, as he's able to steal that 10-point bonus away. So Jackson Wolney grabs it, the bull by the horns, potentially going to try to battle for a championship here, although Ardiles leads, as we had said, overall when you take the drops into account. But to start with a 10-point bonus is big. Not only that, he'll be on the pole position for the pre-final as well.
Let's take a look at the full results breakdown. Well, actually, sorry, they've already switched timing over to Master Shifter. We're rolling that fast through the day, but how about that for Jackson Wolney? What a fantastic performance here. Right when he needed it, that last little bit. I mean, 13 thousandths, Rob, that comes down to any single moment on the racetrack. Any little shimmy of the wheel, a slip of the hands, braking that little bit earlier or later, throttle earlier or later, that little slide. I mean, that's not even, thousands, that's hundreds, and that could be a full 1/10 of a second. So to be 13 thousandths apart, nearly identical, insane. But again, 13 thousandths just made up 10 points in the championship for Jackson Wolney.
You go back a 0.5 tenth, 500th today, Diego Ardiles, not even a 10th back to Ty Fisher in 4th, Theon Shee in 5th, Alex Sanchez, Sarah Bradley, Chase Cassioli, Max Weiland, and Tristan Murphy rounding out the top 10. Man, to see the top 3 drivers in the championship, top 3 in points, really kind of puts the exclamation point on it. We always talk about the fact that the cream kind of rises to the top here as you roll in. There's Jackson Wolney right there, and he will be a happy guy getting that 10-point bonus. Big for him in the middle of this massive championship battle between he, Ardiles, and Brown.
So with X30 Junior wrapped up, we've got 2 more classes to qualify here on the free section of today's coverage. We've got our Master Shifters, 3 more to go. We're halfway in, halfway home. Master Shifters and then Mini Swift. That was X30 Junior. So yeah, Master Shifter, Mini Swift, that's it. 2 more classes. Then we go straight to Race 'em at 10:15 a.m. Eastern. So only 30 minutes away from going on to our KC Premium stream. This stream will automatically kick you over there if you're already a member, so you won't need to worry about having to even get up from your couch. Hopefully you're enjoying some coffee, some orange juice, some pancakes, waffles on this Sunday morning, and spending it with us watching some kart racing action from Newcastle, Indiana. And as always, make sure to share it around with your friends and family and continue to spread the good word about this awesome sport that we've got and all the coverage that we have. And then, again, premium members through the middle section of the day, that's still going to be free to view on replay later next week if you don't want to subscribe or are not one already. And then, of course, regardless of whether you're a member or not, everyone in the world across the globe will get to watch the Pro X30 and Pro Shifter Showdown 54.5 points now separate the top 5 in Pro X30. Rob, we entered the weekend. They were 97.5 apart. They're now still, all 5 of them, in contention. Realistic shot. And 54.5 points separate the difference from $1,500 and the full season in 5th to $10,000 the full season and Super Nats in first. So there's a big swing, and it's all coming your way next when we return with Master Shifter Qualifying and Mini Swift to close out the free coverage. Are you ready to get behind the wheel? From Formula One to NASCAR and IndyCar, all the pros start here. For more information, check us out online at mcckarting.com or call us and go racing today.
Colin, I need a new 219 chain. I need a 77 tooth sprocket. I need some more chain lube, and I need it probably as soon as like tomorrow. Dude, are you even listening? Like, we need this to run this weekend.
Want anything else?
What do you mean?
I already got it in the Kart on Acceleration Kart Racing's online store, bro. All orders over $200 get free shipping.
Oh, throw in a set of tires.
Done.
Everything you need, all in one place and shipped to your door for free on orders of $200 or more. Exclusions apply. Shop akr.com.
I'm David Serra, 18-time Australian karting champion, and we're launching Kart Class. Kart Class is an advanced digital training program that suits a driver who's just starting out in the sport, all the way to the driver looking to win a national championship. In this program, you're going to be learning about how to find the ideal racing line and what an apex is, braking and throttle markers, wet weather racing lines, and how to overtake other competitors. We target how to brake in the wet weather, and we look on the mental side of kart racing as well with our mental skills coach. At the completion of this program, you'll be lighting up purple sectors in qualifying, know when to defend on the opening laps, and how to pressure your opposition into mistakes. We teach you the tools to be resilient and how to get in the right frame of mind before a race. We look to complete the whole package by getting a strong mindset, a driving style to suit all conditions, strategizing your race, and getting the last 1% from your team. We'll teach you how to win the final lap of a race, driving the wet like Max Verstappen, and creating the perfect bubble for yourself to mentally be in the zone. To find out more, click the link below.
Qualifying continuing here at Newcastle Motorsports Park. Championship Sunday of the SuperKart USA Pro Tour, the Summer Nationals. Locking things down. Of course, all the calculations being done. And David Cole, of course, of ekartingnews.com, getting it done. And Relied doing the same thing here with Kart Chase, trying to figure out who is locked and loaded. Getting reports, Dig or D-List potentially are having things locked down in the KA100 junior category. This kind of class here, as we followed 66-year-old Michael Gouache around the racetrack in that Maranello machine, watching qualifying roll here out for the drivers in Master Shifter. To be honest, when it all wraps up here, Sketchy Barnes from Bermuda has things pretty much locked and loaded. But the bottom line here now is the fact that Joe Rook has an opportunity to potentially challenge Barnes, but he has to have essentially a perfect day. And there you go. That's Sketchy Barnes trying to get by the 601 of Luis Quinones, throws it to the inside of turn one. That didn't go well for Sketchy Barnes. Might as well get off it here right now and try to check back up and get another lap in here. But nonetheless, for Barnes, if he's able to go P1, he will steal it. But the bottom line is for Joe Rook, he has to have a perfect day. And as I said before, a perfect day starts in qualifying. He needs those 10 bonus points to be able to go up top. So as they run right now, Tim Hollowell P1, Justin Kelly in second, Mike Rivera third, Sketchy Barnes fourth, and Michael Gouache in fifth spot. Joe Rook right now back in eighth on his opening lap. So indeed, Rook's the guy to watch. We are tracking your provisional champion here, Skitchy Barnes. Joe Rook does need to go P1. Tim Hollowell has been the driver to watch, though. It's been very impressive. The local driver, Xander, on the TB Kart, pitting out of the far garage, out of turn number 1. The local pilot has shown so well. He's P1 right now with a 107.7.
And I think what's been most impressive with Tim Hollowell is how quick he's able to get up to the limit. Right now, Joe Ruck doing what he needs to do, gets up to the pole. Now Skitchy trying to get by Luis Quinones. That was
back to back. Both times through turn number 1, he tried the inside of Quinones and couldn't pull the trigger. So he's back in 6th spot right now. He should have waited way back on Quinones. Twice he tried to go to the inside of turn number 1. Neither time he was able to get by Quinones, chop blocking him into turn number 1, or what is essentially turn number 2 on both occasions.
And again, he tries it there in the green corner. But again, if you're Skitchy Barnes, this is qualifying, man. You've got laps, but now you're burning the last lap. So I guess maybe out of frustration, you send it on him just to make sure his lap's hurt as well, as he goes a little wide in the cell tower, and now he gets by. But I don't know if you're going to have enough time. 20 seconds based on the unofficial timer clock. This is going to be right on the bubble. Here he comes. 3 turns to go. Over to turns 15, 16, 17. 10 seconds left. Can Skitchy get to the line to get one clean lap in at full speed? Yes, he'll get one more. And the checker will go now. Checkered flag out from Aaron Likens. First one to hit it is going to be Nick Bedard. He'll go to 3rd.
Tim Hollowell still on top of the 106.752. Mike Rivera, who was right, I think he might have been the fastest guy on the track yesterday, rolling up on that top 4, only to see the issue happen for Joe Rook, a braking issue for him. Slow up, he got checked up and got spun around and bent the axle. Rivera's got great speed. 0.02 of a second behind Hollowell right now. Bedard in 3rd. Justin Kelly finds a little more pace to lead the Marinello crew. Marinello's 4th, 5th, 6th, and 7th. Kelly, Rook, Gouache, and Barnes. I expect you're going to see Barnes lay down a fast lap here. If it's good enough for P1, we'll see. But the bottom line is this: if Joe Rook does not put the car on the pole here in this qualifying sessions, that will give the championship officially to Skitchy Barnes. It needs to be a perfect day for Rook, currently P5.
Big slide there coming out of turn 14 for Skitchy, but he's still pushing. He and Luis Quinones, Michael Gouache, and I believe one more behind Mike Gouache will be the last ones to take the checkers. Looks like it's going to be the CRG entry behind. Barnes goes 3rd, but the good news is Ruck is not on pole either. So while Tim Hollowell, P2 yesterday, will turn it around and go pole that session, Skitchy Barnes is now officially the provisionally clinching the championship. Still going to go to Tech. The whole top 5 could get DQ'd, and Joe Ruck could get a 10-point bonus that way, but the odds of that, obviously very low. Congratulations unofficially as the first ones to say that Bermuda will be taking the Master Shifter SKUSA Pro Tour title, and that, of course, continues the run, granted with a handful less drivers, of the Winter Series title he had this year. So both Master Shifter regular season titles, the Winter Championship, the Pro Tour, provisionally by our calculations, Rob, in the hands of Skitchy Barnes.
And again, so we'll say that again, everything you hear from us is unofficial. We do the best we can to try to give you the information to follow up on who is P1, who's going to win these championships. Obviously unofficial. You got to get through scales, you got to get through Tech, and we have to wait for SuperKarts USA to officially say who the champions are. We do the best we can with the knowledge that we have to try to tell you who's locked things down. Again, unofficially, Skitchy Barnes getting that championship there with Tim Hollowell grabbing the pole spot. But big for Barnes, actually, he needed that last lap because he was back in, I think, 6th or 7th position. Leverages the final lap, be able to get through for one more circuit. Came in just a couple of seconds before the checkered flag flew. He goes from 7th up to P3, so he leveraged that last opportunity to get one more clean lap after getting by Luis Quinones.
Well, I see that David Land is over in the scale line area. Skitchy came in towards the back, and we've got about 3 minutes until Mini Swift Group 1 is released for qualifying. So maybe before Skitchy gets into the scales, as long as the top 5 don't get DQ'd, we could get a quick word with what we believe could be the provisional champ with the way that our calculations have the points tallied up. If not, as well, we'll be looking maybe chat with Tim Hollowell from the TB Kart camp with a good run. And again, don't want to overshadow the race day results for everyone here today. Pole in qualifying for Tim Hollowell, and of course there will be another pre-final, another main event, potentially a new or repeat race winner. But again, when you get to the end of the season here, you're focused on the championship as well, because that is what you build your whole year for, right? I mean, drivers, even like for a guy like Danny Formal, Rob, the reason why he was so bummed that he couldn't make it to Cincinnati, that the program altogether just didn't work, and he had to, pivot, and ultimately found a home with Sodi Kart. Then obviously got his rib injury on Thursday anyway, whether he would have made it through Cincy or not. The reason why, yes, Danny Formal would love that 10K prize purse and whatnot. And yes, having the entry in the tires makes finding a home for 2025 a little easier. But he's won the Supernats 4 times. He's won about every other American event available, every other winter championship you can think of. He's never won a Pro Tour title, and even though he's got his full driver contract with Wayne Taylor Racing and with Andretti Global in sports cars, he's like, Xander, I wanted to win a Pro Tour championship so bad. So that makes us feel a little easier that hopefully we'll get to see the big guy back in 2025.
That would be awesome if he's able to kind of juggle those opportunities. So we'll see how it all plays out here right now for Danny Formal. Again, a great opportunity for him, as we know. The sports car racing he's done, the success we've seen Danny have in sports cars has been amazing to see. But again, bottom line is that he wants to come and win that Pro Tour championship. Hopefully we'll see him back in 2025. Hopefully the schedule will allow that to happen.
Well, while Mini Swift gets set to roll, we're going to go down to the scale line here. David Land's going to be able to be the one, I believe, to potentially break some very good news. So we're just waiting. Actually, it looks like the scale may have gotten a bit ahead of us, so we'll have to wait a little bit longer. But Mini Swift's going to be rolling here. Let's take a moment here. We'll take one more commercial break. We got one more session before we go green, before we go over to the paywall. No, here we go. I see them staging over there. We can go now. Mini Swift onto the racetrack at the same time while they begin their out lap, because we know it's going to take about 2.5 minutes to get all the way around and then complete lap 1, Rob. Let's take this moment to go down to David Land, P3 in qualifying for Skitchy Barnes. More importantly, something else, Dave.
Yeah, Skitchy, we were talking just in the scale line. You're not convinced that you won the championship yet, but at least Emery Lida has said to us that with drops, you have won the championship by 1 point. So congratulations.
Yeah, if that's the case, it's awesome, but I didn't think it was clinched. I know I got a good day yesterday. Joe had an unfortunate day. But we're going to race like we still have to get points. Nothing's going to change. Just maybe do a little smarter, not take as many risks. Someone shows me their nose, maybe back out a little bit and just kind of play it safe. But still trying to win and see what happens.
He's racing for points. He's racing for a championship. And, depending on who you've asked, he's won it all.
Thank you, Dave. Here and again, like Skitchy said, he still wants to go race for a win. He's going to be smart about it. And, that was a great description from Mateus Morgado as well. When we asked him as he entered with the points lead and then watched A.J. Myers win that first heat race. He won the second Pro Shifter heat, and he was able to minimize the damage to only about, I think, 3 or 4 points given up to A.J. So it went from 62.5 down to 58.5 in the margin between the two. He said, I'm still pushing. I'm just pushing a little bit safer this weekend, a little bit more reserved. But at the end of the day, I'm still going to drive it to the absolute limit because I have to, because AJ's going to. He's got nothing left to lose, really, from where he's at. He's got a big cushion back, especially with the rougher start to the weekend. 3rd and 4th in the points have had Kyle Wick and Jacob Gulick. A.J. Myers, as long as he crosses the line somewhere inside the top 20, I don't think he's going to fall outside of second in the points.
And let's look at this, the interesting thing, right? Any of these drivers who have potentially clinched yesterday or clinched early today because the other driver hasn't been able to do what they need to do, you still want to put the exclamation point on the end of the season, right? You don't want to go out softly. You don't want to win a championship and finish 10th or finish 15th. You want the win. You want to win the championship, put the exclamation point on the end with a victory. You want to get the championship. You want to be on top of the podium on Championship Sunday. That gets it done with a statement.
It does. It just makes it where, everyone else, how many times do we hear woulda, coulda, shoulda statements from every driver? Everyone's guilty of it. I am. You are. We all have been at some point or another. And so the last thing you want is for anyone to have any doubt that they felt like they were better than you, right? Because by the points over the 6 rounds, however it's calculated, it's the same for everyone. That you were the man. But it's that extra push to say, yeah, not only did I beat you on the consistency front, heads up on the last day when I already could just go for broke and win the race, I won it.
Exactly that. Exclamation point, as I had said. You want to get the job done. You want to put it with style, a little emphasis on the end of it. You want to wrap things up with that P1 trophy. Getting things underway here now with qualifying in the Mini Swift category. Xander, this will wrap things up for qualifying. After this, we go into the pre-finals. 8 lappers. KA100 Junior will be the first category that rolls out. We'll have 6 pre-finals for you. Then we'll go to the lunch break. We'll come back with a 7-minute warm-up sessions for the pro categories. 6 main events starting at 12:45. And, of course, the pro finals, 20 lappers. The pre-race starting at 3:15 for the drivers in Pro X30. So 3:25 and 4:05 start times for the main events in both Pro X30 and Pro Shifter.
It will be one heck of a show, that's for sure. We're excited about it. We've got a lot to bring your way, but first, let's check in with the opening couple laps that have come together for the Trinity Karting Group Kart Republic Mini Swift first group. Again, this class split in 2, so that's why they have a 15-minute block. We're 11 minutes away from the drop of the green in our first pre-final. That'll be KA100 Junior, and that'll be exactly when our premium member stream starts. For all of those subscribed for $9.99 a month. Again, if you're telling your friends and family, make sure that you tell them to sign up on a PC or Android. If they look on the iOS devices, it might show $12.99 a month. Don't pay that. Find your way to get on something that shows $9.99 because we don't see the extra $3. That goes straight to Apple. Let's keep it between us racers and save you guys some money in the meantime as well. But either way, that will start at 10:15. Right now, we're still free. We're still live, and we're watching Ben Gleberman, as of last time by, sit at the top of the charts here in group number 1 over Brandon Eng. And on screen here, that is the 117 of, I believe, Colton Schniegenberg. Then there's Maxwell Mach in the 174 and Marco Samet, 2 drivers that are well up in the mix in the points in the top 10. But, you know, they need a big day today to kind of move up a little further. And it starts with trying to put a good lap in the slow group. That will hopefully hold when the fast group rolls, Rob.
Yeah, David Cole giving us the update that Ashton Woon has indeed locked the championship already in this category. Woon, 206 points ahead of Rocco Simoni coming in. So based on the information I got from David Cole, Woon has this thing locked and loaded. So again, another driver able to get the championship done coming in to Sunday's action. So kudos to him as well. But again, the drivers here in this TKG Kart Republic sponsored Mini Swift category will be behind guys like Brandon NG at the start here. This is that first group getting the checkered flag. So provisional pole for NG, 117.233. About a tenth of a second back is Gleberman. Case and Hodge, less than 2/10 back as well. Marco Samet there as well on the 175. And Colton Schniegenberg round out the Fast 5 from the opening group here in this Mini Swift class. Again, drivers getting out on the racetrack, as we said. We had 14 drivers lay lap times down. Another bunch of drivers getting set to roll here. Woon will be out there along with Braden Wagner, Rocco Simoni, John McClellan, Royce Vega, all of these drivers that we saw up front yesterday.
And they're just waiting the final few moments here. This is the last group, again, to roll for qualifying from Newcastle Motorsports Park. We've got cameras all around this facility, and it's a little bit overcast, but the temps seem to be about the same. So, you know, James Overbeck said he wasn't quite sure where the track was going to be, especially because he didn't get out on the track for warm-up. Rob, you can describe it as well as I can, that not only does the air temperature kind of play into the track conditions, but the sun being out or not can significantly affect it as well. Right. And I think you're going to fear that if you just went out by yourself, but it's also magnified when he jumps in midway through the year and the rest of the fields had 3, 4, 5 major race weekends to learn and develop and get to a new level. You know, you might feel a little bit different in the corner, but then he goes behind, let's say, Sketchy Barnes, who's run the entire season, or Joe Rook, and both of them have had a lot of experience at the American tracks, at this specific layout even on the new Kyer compound. And he sees them drive 5 miles an hour faster in the center of the corner and goes, whoa, okay, yeah. What I did last year, I need to do something different this year to be able to keep up with those guys.
So indeed, Justin Kelly giving us a really good contrast on the tires from not running for the first half of the season, and indeed coming back and giving us kind of some really cool input of what it feels like running this new tire compound. Again, qualifying. This is actually the last qualifying session of the year here for the SuperKarts USA Pro Tour, wrapping things up here for the drivers in the Mini Swift category. Of course, as we know, the Pro categories qualifying yesterday had their first couple of heat rates as well. All we have is warm-up and main events here today. So again, drivers chasing NG's time of a 1:17.233. That is provisional pole time. Gleiberman, Hodge, Samet, and Schniegenberg, top 5 from the first group. And we will expect to see this next group dial things in. And interestingly, Xander, nobody's out there trying to get clean air. As you can see, everybody lined up like it's the start of a main event. You see them all essentially in a big row here, all drafting. They're going to be dependent on the guys in front of them. They don't have any open racetrack whatsoever. So if the guy in front of you is slow, you're going to be slow. Surprising to see so many drivers kind of lining up as we are here in a train.
I think part of the reason, though, is you look at all the kids that are at the front of the train. Well, they're all pretty fast, right?
Not,
Troy Ferguson charged through the field yesterday. Royce Vega ran at the front the whole day. Lorenzo Varela in top 5 and warm-up. Josh Bergman on the podium. Provisionally, it was kind of back and forth off of a protest and some penalties back and forth, but third or fourth for the 140. So the first 4, at least on our screen, are some of the fastest, so it makes sense why everyone's happy to follow them. They're going to, bank on all of those drivers being quick. And then Ashton Woon just moved himself up to 5th in line. Well, he won yesterday. He's won the last 3 main events. And he looks to be just about clinching the title here based on how things are today. He's had a great run.
Cole told me that he thinks it's already done. So Ashton Woon has already locked this one down. I'm sure Emery Lyda would probably back him up with the fact that Woon has things done. Like you said, 3 straight victories for Ashton Woon. Does he make it 4 in a row with a win here on Championship Sunday? Already has the title locked and loaded for Woon. You expect him to move up into the junior categories in 2025, but will do so with a nice little check mark there on the resume. A SKUSA Pro Tour Championship in the Mini Swift category, but still racing to be done throughout the day here. Our final qualifying session, as I said, here for 2024 in the SuperKarts USA Pro Tour. From here, we go pre-final racing, as we said. We'll have 6 pre-finals for you. Then we, of course, have the lunch break after that, rolling into the Pro category warm-ups, main events, and, of course, wrapping it all up, Xander, with a couple of badass pro races to cap off this year's Pro Tour.
Coming to the end right now here, 2 laps in, last lap underway. Look at this. You got the Bennick teammates at the front of the pack. Everyone in this group's going to shove all the way into turn number 2, but the bad news is that's the longest straightaway, and Troy Ferguson had no help the entire way. The rest of the pack ran up to him. The good news is they're all going to go 2 by 2 in the shark fin. Woon can't get by Varela. Bergman does get by Vega. And Braden Wagner, he's second to last in that pack. Well, now there's a couple more that have latched on. But the GFC driver at a 1:16.742, 7th in line, is quickest. And I think with the way that the top 4 are all shuffling around, I don't know if they're going to get a good lap to answer. So this could be a first career SKUSA Pro Tour pole for Braden Wagner. And what a weekend ender it could be for Sunday if he could walk it off with a win.
Brandon NG holding on to the 9th position. He was quickest in the opening groups. Currently P9, still less than a half a second back. Wagner a 1:16.742 up top. Does he get it here? Final time out of 15 over to 16, 17, and 18. Who's going to come away with it? Did they line up well? Wagner, Woon, and De Janeiro, your current top 3. Who's got moving? Wagner goes back to 2nd. Ferguson up to 3rd. Rocco Simone with a 1:16.5.
Talk about a big run here at the end of qualifying. Rocco Simone by nearly 2/10, clearing the entire field. What a performance for the Trinity Karting Group Kart Republic driver who needs that good performance to secure himself at least 2nd in the championship, because while Ashton Woon is sadly too far away for him to snag that title away from him, he still does have to worry about Josh Bergman and Royce Vega, as well as potentially even Troy Ferguson, depending on how today plays out. They all have had one really rough day. It was back at the finale at Cincinnati. Round 4 was 118 points with a DNF in the main for Rocco Simone. That same race was also a very rough race for Royce Vega. He only got 122 points there in Cincy. And then for Josh Bergman, It was earlier in the year that he was just kind of more middle of the road, so he ends up a little further back. But then Troy Ferguson, obviously, yesterday will be his drop at only 88 points scored.
So, Xander, that caps qualifying for the 2024 SuperKarts USA Pro Tour. We have pre-finals coming up. Line everybody up here on what we've got on a Sunday.
Here we go. Again, pre-finals. We're going to switch over just in a moment, strictly to KC Premium members, and then we'll go green in 2 minutes with the pre-final action. In the middle of the pre-finals and the finals will be the Pro X30 Pro Shifter warm-up sessions, and then the semi-pro main events to conclude their seasons. And then we'll go back in front of our paywall, free to view the Pro X30 and Pro Shifter main events at 3:30 p.m. Eastern, 12:30 p.m. Pacific. So we're going to KC Premium members for the live portion. If you want to watch this on replay for free, you'll have to wait till next week. $9.99 a month. Hit that join button below, and you can see us on the other side of the break. We'll see you there.